Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. Get ready to see a jump in your power bill. Rates are going up for Northwestern Energy customers.
State regulators have made their first decision on a huge electric rate case affecting Northwestern Energy customers.
Yeah, the Public Service Commission voted last week to approve a 1.2% increase, but left undecided a key decision affecting solar power installers. The average increase for Northwestern's 374,000 Montana customers will be about $8.40 a month. Northwestern initially asked for an increase about 6 times higher, but in May agreed to lower that amount as part of a settlement with consumer and customer groups.
The PSC vote last week approved that settlement. However, the PSC has yet to rule on Northwestern's request to change how it charges customers with rooftop solar power systems. Solar power advocates say Northwestern's proposal will make new rooftop systems uneconomical.
The commission is expected to vote on the solar power rates by the end of this month.
Billings residents now getting a chance to weigh in on a multi-million-dollar project to help ease traffic issues in the Heights.
Despite missing out on a $19 million grant, the Inner Belt Loop plan connecting Wicks Lane to the top of Zimmerman Trail is moving forward, and the public will help decide what the commute will look like. The plan is for a 2-lane, 7-mile road from Wicks Lane in the Heights to Zimmerman Trail and Highway 3. The company working on the project plan says it's a unique opportunity for Billings. The project manager says what makes this special is the Inner Belt Loop is a new road on undeveloped land.
With that comes a chance for the public to comment on the look of the road. Phase 1 of the Inner Belt Loop, Skyway Drive from Wicks to Alkali Creek, is already built. Phase 2 is 6 miles of road from Wicks to Highway 3. Now, the location and access have been determined, but because this is undeveloped land, Sanderson Stewart is looking for input on several ideas, including on how the shape and feel of the road is.
It's a little bit unusual anymore in this day and age to build a brand new roadway across a territory that hasn't been developed at all. It provides us sort of a blank canvas opportunity. So what we're trying to do is just look at everything that goes into opening up a new area for development and a new transportation corridor and make sure we get it right the first time.
Also at last night's meeting, Mayor Bill Cole announced that Billings was not chosen for one of the U.S. Department of Transportation build grants.
Now, if Billings had received the $19 million grant, it would have helped with the Inner Belt Loop and the Marathon Loop Trail, a walking, biking trail to go all around the city.
Well, the man who robbed a Heights casino in July of 2018 will serve the next 13 and a half years behind bars. Joshua Roberts robbed Dottie's casino after pointing a handgun at the attendant and demanding money, and made off with $516 and was arrested later that day. Roberts was found with a handgun, which was illegal for him to possess as a felon.
On the weather scene tonight, Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire joins us with good news. And with all of this early snow, how is our snowpack looking, Bob?
That was the question we were wondering because, we've had a little bit of snow already here. And I thought, well, if we had a little bit here, how are we doing in the mountains? And boy, was I surprised. Let me show you. Take a look at these. Of course, you got to remember, we normally don't have a lot of snow up in the mountains this time of year. But this year we've had quite a bit. And so these are our percentages of normal. Here in our area, the upper Yellowstone Valley, we're at 179% of normal. Yeah, that's right. Look over there by Smith and Judith Basin of Muscle Shell, 256% of normal. Over there by places like over there by Upper Clark Fork, 273% of normal. And look at that, between Great Falls and Shelby, 420% of normal. It's truly amazing. So I got to tell you, it's just, we've had a lot of snow up there, and it's more than what we normally would have for this time of year. But so that's what's happening. We're laying down a very good snow base across our area for area skiers. It's going to look very, very good if we continue to see more snow. In fact, we're looking for more snow coming in this weekend. We'll have more about that in a few more minutes.
All right. Thanks so much, Bob.
Well, Senator Jon Tester now doubling down on efforts to secure more funding for security along Montana's northern border.
Tester's office says he is co-sponsoring a bill to reauthorize and increase funding for Operation Stone Garden. Now, over the past decade, funding for the program has ranged from a high of $2 million to a low of $600,000. $1.8 million was available this last year.
Stone Garden authorizes U.S. Customs and Border Patrol to work with state, local, and tribal law enforcement to help increase border security along Montana's 545-mile-long border with British Columbia and Alberta. Tester wants it reauthorized because it tackles problems ranging from drug smuggling to human trafficking. Tester's bill would reauthorize the program for 5 years with a total of $110 million.
Well, one day before the filing deadline, former Attorney General Jeff Sessions is on to his next political venture, but this one he's all too familiar with. Today he announced his candidacy for the U.S. Senate from his home state of Alabama. Sessions was a senator before stepping down to take on the Attorney General position, but was asked to resign in November 2018. And after saying in March he would not run for president, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg is reconsidering. A spokesman for the billionaire says Bloomberg is expected to file the required paperwork this week to get on the Democratic primary ballot in Alabama, but his decision to run is not yet final. The spokesman says Bloomberg is rethinking running because he doesn't believe any of the current candidates are in a position to beat President Trump.
U.S. stocks climbed higher in reaction to news that China and the United States have made progress in their trade war negotiations.
Skylar Henry reports from Wall Street.
The stock market extended its winning streak after China announced it had agreed with the United States to gradually ease tariffs on each other's exports.
This is unlikely to be some massive big change, but it will put to rest a lot of anxiety around increasing or escalating tariffs.
A spokesperson for China's Commerce Ministry says the two nations agreed to proportionally roll back tariffs in phases. The trade war has been a top concern for investors, and both sides have reason to reach at least a partial agreement. China's economy has slowed, and President Trump is heading into an election year.
Thursday's announcement is seen as a step in the right direction, but analysts aren't expecting a breakthrough in the core dispute.
What I don't think we're going to get is what the United States really wanted, which was an acknowledgement that U.S. companies are operating at an unfair advantage in China. Because in order to do business in China, essentially, a U.S. company either has to partner with a Chinese company or that U.S. company has to hand over its intellectual property.
Both sides continue to negotiate when a Phase 1 deal will be signed. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Wall Street.
Well, business analysts are hopeful that Thursday's announcement will lead to many tariffs being rolled back by the beginning of next year.
Well, coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, more than 2,000 people sickened through vaping nationwide. Find out how many Montanans are now officially affected.
Plus, this month is brought to you by the letter N, November, and a new home for a child in need.
And in sports, Scott delivers a full Thursday of playoff volleyball action and shows us who's eliminated between West, Senior, and Skyview.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger, Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire, and sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.